Indestructible Gaming. Select your character. Musket Shot. Mr. K. Let the battle begin. Get ready for a battle unknown. 3, 2, 1.
Hello and welcome to Indestructible Gaming and More. I am Musket Shot. Alongside me is my co-host, Mr. K. Mr. K, hello.
Hey, welcome back, everyone.
Hello. So this is part 2 of a 2-part series that we were doing where we recommended a game that both of us really enjoyed and felt that the other should try and play.
Yeah, something different.
And this second episode is a game that you recommended to me.
Yep.
And it is called Voodoo Vince Remastered. And this is on the Xbox One that I played this. It's developed and published by Beep Games, B-E-E-P.
Like a horn in the car.
Yeah. And in 2003, Clayton Kozlarek was the one that created this game. And we met him, right?
Yeah, we met him at, I think it was PAX 2018, right?
Something like that, probably.
Because we went last year, but he wasn't there
Right.
last year, so it must have been 2018.
Yeah.
When the game was still in development, hasn't released yet.
Yeah.
If I knew...
It might have been 2017, actually.
Was it?
Yeah.
It might have been, yeah. But yeah, I have the original copy of Voodoo Vince on the original Xbox, and if I knew he was there, I would have brought it to have it signed, but
Yeah.
oh well.
Yeah.
I'm just happy enough that I met him.
Yeah. So
Really nice guy. If
Yeah.
you're listening to this, good on you, man.
yeah, so they're actually Beep Games is also they've got a game coming out actually this year, and it might already be out now, but it's called Bartlow's Dread Machine.
Oh yeah, I saw a trailer about that I want to say like a year ago maybe.
Yeah, this one it's kind of interesting. It's a dual stick action shooter with single and co-op player modes. It's got 6 worlds, a bunch of monsters and historical characters. And the plot of the game is basically Teddy Roosevelt has been kidnapped.
Of course.
And your mission is to pursue his abductors from New York across the Great Plains to San Francisco, the high seas and beyond, using trains, ships, and even a newfangled automobile.
Wow.
You master an arsenal of futuristic Edwardian weapons as you fight otherworldly creatures to free the commander-in-chief, and it was supposed to be on Xbox One and Steam.
Interesting.
Yeah, it looks pretty cool. From what I saw, that looked pretty interesting. And then they had a mobile game on the Apple App Store called Scurvy Scallywags. And it's a part match 3 game, part RPG, part Broadway musical, and entirely fun game. That's what it said. And you're a pirate character, which appears on a classic style match 3 game board, along with loot to be plundered, valuable quest items, and enemies who you want dead. When you match 3 or more tiles, the board shifts in the direction you swiped, so you can use the strategy to line up your pirate with items you need or avoid monsters stronger than you. I didn't really understand the 3-match game board. Do you understand that? Or match 3 game board?
Maybe if we play the game, it will.
Yeah, I didn't really understand that much, but yeah, so that's their app game on Apple. And but we're going to talk about Voodoo Vince, which the remastered version was released in 2017. The original was in 2003. So good about 13, 14 years.
Well deserved.
Yep.
In my opinion.
It's rated T for teen, crude humor, fantasy violence, language, use of tobacco. It's a single-player platform. It's on Xbox One, Steam, and Windows 10. And I think this was it was really, the original one was meant for just Xbox, right? The original?
Yeah, it was, Voodoo Vince was originally supposed to be a Xbox mascot because they didn't know what to do at the time because everyone else had their own. And Xbox, before Halo was a major thing, they were trying to do what Nintendo and Sony technically were doing with platforming and all that. So they made a couple of games, and Voodoo Vince happened to be one of them.
Yeah.
And from the Xbox person himself, Phil Spencer, said Voodoo Vince was actually one of his favorite games to work on.
That's cool. So do you want to give a kind of synopsis of the plot in this game?
Yeah, you play as a voodoo doll named Vince that comes to life after two henchmen of Cosmo the Inscrutable come into Madame Leota's shop, which is basically like a gypsy type area since the game sets in New Orleans. And basically what happens, they come in, they steal these things called zombie dust, which are kind of like magical vials full of magical dust.
Mm-hmm.
And as they steal that, some of it goes crazy. They spilled some of it. It goes crazy. The room goes bananas. You got chairs flying all across the room, and surprisingly enough, knocks Madame Leota out. And
is it Madame Leota or Madame Charmaine?
Well, did I say Madame Leota?
Yeah.
Oh, I meant to say Charmaine. For some reason, I mixed that up with the Haunted Mansion girl.
Yeah, I was gonna say. I think
the same person.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah, Madame Charmaine. Disney, Xbox, same thing.
Yeah, that's funny.
But yeah, Madame Charmaine gets taken out. She doesn't die. She passed out because she got hit with a chair from the magic. So they take her and bring her to Cosmo, and it's your duty as Voodoo Vince to the second best voodoo doll. We don't ever figure out who's the first. And basically just have to go across the world or whatever and rescue her. Or go across New Orleans, technically.
And she talks to you telepathically, right?
Yeah, because of the voodoo dust.
Yeah.
The zombie dust.
Yeah.
But yeah, this is your platformer, run-of-the-mill platforming.
Yeah.
Third person.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you want to go into the game a little bit?
Yeah, we'll talk about some of the game, a lot of the different things in the game. This so like you said, it was based in New Orleans. So it has that fun New Orleans look. There's a lot of color to the game. The music in the background is like very much jazz type music style.
Yeah, it's really good music, really underrated music.
Yeah, I really liked the music. I found that, I don't know, I just had it in my head even after the game was over.
And these weren't, you would be expecting like, I don't know, like 1 minute music tracks and then have them. No, these are 3-minute songs, like fully made songs.
Yeah, they're really good. And and then there's a lot of color to this game. I don't know how the original was and how it looked, and I would love to see like screenshots of side to side what the original looked like and what the remaster looks like. But
who knows? If you really wanted to, I can always just come over your house with the original Xbox. We can play it.
True. Yeah, because I thought the color and everything looked really sharp in this game.
Yeah, the remastered version compared to the original version looks really good, especially with Vince, because in the original one, Vince just looked like he was made out of like a potato sack. But this one, you can actually see the seams.
Yeah, you can see the seams, the buttons, everything like that, the needles in them and stuff like that. He's very animated as a character.
Very sarcastic.
He's funny. He's got a lot of different little puns that he throws
even
out
breaks
there.
The fourth wall from now and then.
Yeah. Talks to you. Yeah, it's really kind of a good
You
game.
can tell they put their heart into this.
Yeah, and he's kind of strange looking a little bit, but
he becomes charming as you go on.
He does, and you really find him to be, really, one of those characters that you just love playing. As like there's one of the levels you go into, you have to buy a horn from a pawn shop, and then there's a jazz club that you can go into and you play. And it was funny because he comes out with like a beret and sunglasses on, stuff like that. It was like really funny, and I thought was like, oh, he looks awesome now. I want him to stay like that, with his hat and sunglasses. He looks really cool.
Each level is pretty much a straight direction with an objective you have to complete in order to get to the next level.
Yeah.
There are collectibles you can grab.
Yeah.
You got the zombie dust, which I think if you collect 100 of them, you'll get an extra hit point for Vince. And these, I think they're called totems, and they're like purple skeleton-looking things.
Right.
But when you grab them, they give you the ability to use a voodoo power.
Yeah.
What is a voodoo power, you ask? Well, if you have enough beads, which you collect by killing enemies, you can initiate a voodoo power, which if you're playing on Xbox, flip trigger and right trigger, it will do a random scene of Vince dying in a brutal way. And it will do this power wave, which will then affect the other monsters the same way it affected Vince.
Yeah.
So if he got chopped in half by a chainsaw, you're going to see those monsters be cut in half. It's really cool. And some of them are really funny.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I thought that was an interesting way to play the game like that, having your character get killed, but it wipes, kills the other characters, and then your character just pops back up like nothing happened. So I thought that was pretty cool. And the different voodoo powers are, there's like different ones, which is, depending on what you find and what you get, it's pretty cool.
Yeah. In the world, you may have to hurt yourself in order to progress, which is pretty cool, which also reinforces that he's a voodoo doll. The only thing I say about that, though, is that only happens in specific areas, so it's not all the time.
Right.
Which I wish it kind of was. So it's kind of more voodoo-ish. Because you can die by falling into pits.
Yeah.
And all that, which can happen often if you're not too careful.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's sometimes you may question yourself. He's dead.
Yeah.
He's a voodoo doll.
Yeah.
But it's some game. They got to do that for the game.
Yeah. Yeah. And
you got to have some limitations.
I mean, there's a couple different things he can do to kill, like the small, the creatures that are coming after him, which seem to be mostly frogs.
Yeah, he can.
And a lot of them. He can spin. He can do a spin thing where he's like punching them and spinning around, punching them, or he could do like a jump smash type of thing where he
like
smashes
a jump headbutt kind of move.
Yeah,
jump headbutt. You got the spin, and you can do like your typical 3-hit punch.
Yeah. Which one did you? I found that the
spin's probably the best one to use.
The best one.
Yeah, spin's probably the best one. But if
the jump one, I found that sometimes it would follow him up in the air, but then you didn't know where the hell you were landing sometimes. Yeah. It's like, oh yeah.
Usually that move is good when there's a lot of enemies and you don't have your voodoo powers yet.
Yeah.
Either that or the spin's good to knock them back. But yeah, there's a lot of like creativity gone into this, and this is a decently long game.
Yeah, it is.
If you're going for that 100% completion like I did, you're going to be spending a good amount of time on it.
Yeah, and like you said, there's little there's crevices in the ground and stuff like that. You got to be careful.
Yeah,
to fall into
falls and all that.
You'll fall to your death. It's like no end to nowhere. I don't know where it just goes. But
Vince also has the ability to float if he's in midair.
Yep, you can have him float.
He kind of not really floating. He more like hovers.
Yeah,
he does eventually go. He does go down when you start it.
Yeah, I found that to be a little tricky at first to do, but once you get the hang of it, it's not too hard. It's I thought it was a little tricky at first.
Yeah, but you get used to it.
Yeah.
The environments look very lively. They look very beautiful with the remastered version.
Mm-hmm.
And the music, like we said, was gorgeous. I still think Voodoo Vince is very underappreciated, even though he has a decent cult following. I will say, though, it's definitely a hidden gem.
Yeah. Yeah, and there's underground pipes that you can go into, too. that'll be
yeah.
different things.
It'll take you to secrets where you can find more zombie dust.
Yeah.
And or pages, which you can find later on that will unlock your voodoo bar, which means you can activate more voodoo powers often.
Yeah.
Which is definitely worth it.
Yeah. And you can go back to levels via trolley, right?
Yes. Or you can just go in the menu itself and just go. Yeah. Which is very useful, especially since later on you get an ability which you can see through stuff. I know where collectibles are. So if you miss something, you can go back and easily find it with that item.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes that 100% so much easier.
Yeah. Yeah. I thought, it's a really interesting game, a fun game to play. It's that, like I said, the music and everything and the color and the character itself. There's certain things where you have to do get a certain item. And then there's like a circle on the ground with an X where you interact with another item, and then it, does a certain thing. So it's pretty cool. There's a lot of that type of stuff in the game. A lot of the levels aren't really huge, but there's a lot to them.
There's a lot of stuff for you to walk around in and all that.
Yeah.
There's a lot of hidden stuff you could find and all that. Enough to get you distracted enough for a good amount of time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. So you played both versions of this game.
Yes.
And you've completed both versions.
Yes.
So do you find that the remastered one is a little bit better, or do you find both of them
100% better?
100% better, yeah.
As they don't change anything gameplay-wise, which I honestly think is a good thing, because the original game was good on its own.
Right.
They just updated the sound of the soundtrack just to make it sound more clearer. This was on the original Xbox. You know how that goes.
Yep.
And the graphics quality was, I think it was pretty good, honestly. Yeah. I think the game needed that a lot. I'm not saying the original was bad looking.
Right.
I just think the remaster makes it look a lot better and adds a lot more charm to it because of that.
Yeah.
And the voices of each character, you can tell they were putting their best in. Yeah. They cared about this game.
Yeah. Cosmo, the Inscrutable, the main villain, his character, his face kind of looks familiar. It kind of reminds me of like one of those cartoon villains, like in one of those comedic cartoons. I don't know which one, but as soon as I saw him, I was like, boy, he looks kind of familiar, but I'm sure it wasn't anything else I'd seen him in, but it was kind of funny. He's kind of goofy, and he's got obviously his henchmen are kind of dopey.
Yeah.
Henchmen. So,
and Vince isn't he's the least scared of Cosmo.
No, right.
He doesn't care. He
doesn't care about any of it. Yeah.
He just wants to save. He wants to save. I almost said Charmaine again.
Yeah, it is Charmaine.
I almost said Leota again. See, I messed it up already.
Yeah. It's a fun game. Anything else that we want to touch on this one?
If anything, I know it's probably impossible, but if it's likely, I would definitely want to see a sequel.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that's something that you haven't heard of yet, but I wonder if they are working on something like that.
Yeah, if they do, I kind of want to see who that number one voodoo doll is.
And they never mentioned that in the game, huh?
Yeah, they don't. They mentioned he's the second best, but they never mentioned the first.
The first.
So I'm really curious of what the first is and who it is. Maybe if they do a second one, it'd be cool if they made it co-op.
Right. Yeah.
Have the second person play as the first best.
Yeah.
Or something like that.
Yeah. Maybe now that that Bartlow's Dread Machine is out, maybe they'll look at doing a Voodoo Vince 2.
Kickstart it. I bet enough people would be interested.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. It definitely has this. Yeah, like you said, it has sort of a cult following. Anyways, I mean, there's a lot of people that know this game, and
so it's not as popular as other games nowadays, but for what it is, and as much of a gem it is, a lot of people do adore them. Yeah.
I'm wondering if they opened it up and said, well, I wonder if it's signed by Xbox and that they can't go to like Switch and PlayStation and stuff like that. I wonder, if it could go to the others, if it would be a bigger game,
Well.
Oh well. So anyways, I'll give my rating for it first. So I liked it. It's and I struggle a lot of times with platformers, but I thought this was a pretty enjoyable game. Love the music, love the color in this game. Character Voodoo Vince is awesome. I think he's a really great character. Unique ways of killing other characters with your voodoo powers. I think that was pretty neat. A lot of fun to do. A lot of fun to see what happens. So I would give this a 8.5 out of 10. I think it's definitely well worth the time to play this if you like platformers and you have Xbox One or you want to play it on Steam.
Yeah. All right. Cool. For a rated T game, I wouldn't have to worry about this with your child because it's very, for what stuff comes out nowadays, this is very tame.
Yeah.
And platforming is pretty simple for a child.
Yeah.
It's not too hard. I mean, it gets harder as you go on in the game, but I don't think it'd be enough to smash your controller in. Overall, I think this game is a gem for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it deserves a lot more people onto it. If they do make a second one, I will say I would like to see more of the voodoo powers be used.
Mm-hmm.
I want to see more stuff because they can definitely do more with this.
Mm-hmm.
And I bet they only did what they did because it was the original Xbox. They could work with only what they could work with.
Mm-hmm.
So I can understand why they didn't expand on it.
Yeah.
But overall, I think this game had a really good soundtrack. I used to listen to it all this time on Spotify before they removed it.
Oh, really?
Yeah, they removed about the time where the remaster came out. So maybe it was because of like copyright or something like that.
Yeah, maybe.
But the soundtrack was really good. Go listen to it. Very, very, very well composed. All jazz.
Yeah.
Really catchy. It'll be stuck in your mind for a good while.
Mm-hmm.
I thought the gameplay was very fun. And I played this as a child, and I've played it again multiple times.
Mm-hmm.
Still always fun to come around to. Vince is still a lovable, sarcastic character. And it's really funny when he gets really into the game and he realizes it and he has to backtrack and say he's not into it.
Mm-hmm.
Like there's a part of the game where he gets off a rat because you're riding him around and stuff. And he has like a cowboy hat on and he flips it off going, yeehaw! And then he's like, oh, wait, yeehaw. So he backtracks himself, and I thought that was really funny.
Yeah, yeah.
But yeah, I'd have to give it a 9 out of 10.
Yeah. Okay. So those were the Voodoo Vince and Voodoo Vince Remastered and Gauntlet Dark Legacy were the two games that we talked about and recommended one to each other and felt that they were great games that we should both try and play and thought that the other one would enjoy a lot. And I think that was the case for both games. So what do we got our next episode? What do we got that we're playing?
Next episode, we're playing a game that's pretty decently old.
Mm-hmm.
Came out, not really sure when, but a good amount of time ago.
Mm.
This is called Ghostmaster.
Okay. Yep.
Where you have to command ghosts, and your main objective is to scare the tenants out of the building.
Cool.
So we'll see you then next week when we scare people, I guess.
Yeah. Sounds like something we should have been playing in during our horror game month there, but either way, who cares? It's all right.
It's belated.
Yeah.
Belated. It's fine.
Yeah, right. Well, that's all I got for this week. If you don't, hopefully you'll listen to us next week or next episode.
Yep. All right.
Well, stay good out there. Stay healthy.
Stay indestructible, folks. All right. Peace.
Game over.
Hey guys, how's it going? I hope you enjoyed the episode. We're on Facebook and Twitter, and if you go on our website with the same name, you can also find us on all the other kinds of stuff you can listen to us to. Anyways, hope you have a wonderful day, folks. Stay indestructible, and peace.